Hey everybody. I'm going live now as promised. I'm trying to figure out how to share it to my regular timeline, so give me just a few minutes because I'm a little challenged. I actually had Anika spend entirely too much time helping me figure out how to even do this on Facebook, so give me just a second and I'll start running my mouth here in a minute. I think, okay, yep, it's okay. I see it. Let me see. I think I don't think I can share it. Hold on. Oh, yes, I can. Here we go. All right. Okay. Share on my page. I know this is very obnoxious, so my bad, but you'll be all right. Why can't I just share it on my regular page? Okay, you know what? I can't share it on my regular page, so whatever, I'm just going to go live from here. And if you want to share it to your pages, great, cool, awesome. I appreciate it. If not, that's your choice, and I understand. But I want to address and talk about the post that I made yesterday, clarify a few things, answer any questions if you guys have them, and just kind of release some of the energy that I've been holding in and bottling up, just like a lot of Black Americans or people just kind of everywhere have been doing. I think that we all know what's going on. We all see it. And I think that we are in a situation where this is an all hands on deck situation, and a lot of hands are being left out of the pot. And it's important to, one, take notice of that. Two, I think we should call it out. I've never really subscribed to call out culture. In the sense that we often see it, but I think in this instance, we need to remember who was silent. We need to remember who spoke out. And I want to be very clear as to why I'm saying what I am and what I'm getting ready to say, okay? It's not for any sort of clout chasing. I don't do that. If you know me, you know I'm not making any effort to damage anyone's business any further than it already has due to the it's really because I think that it's important. So let me get to it. The post that I made yesterday reads as follows, okay? Comics are calling out our white counterparts on their deafening silence, and we should be. But have you noticed who else is silent? The people connected to the clubs we work with and the clubs themselves. Do they get a pass? Is their silence acceptable to you? Many of these clubs, bookers, and promoters weren't making a concerted effort to book Black, brown, and other acts of color or women before the pandemic or prior to recent and long-standing events. They have access to platforms that are much larger than any of our white friends. Why aren't they using those platforms now to speak out against racial violence and the loss of Black life? Right? I think that's a pretty good question to ask. Again, I'm not doing this for clout or anything like that. This isn't helping my career. If that's what you think. I haven't worked like everybody else. I can definitely use the work when life comes back, but losing an opportunity I could care less about losing an opportunity when we're comparing that to losing life. So I want to be very clear about that. I pointed out James from Beer Baron yesterday. Why? Because he's the only one that I noticed before me or anyone that I noticed that said something on his own independently without being prompted or asked. Immediately after my post, I will say this, DuPont Underground immediately reached out. They shared my post with their board of directors. They have a lot of layers and people to go through for a lot of different reasons. They get funding from the state. There's a lot going on with that, but they did reach out. The president or CEO reached out to me directly. Stand Up New York, that's one of my home clubs when I'm in the city. They have posted and made a statement in support of Black lives. And James from the Beer Baron, again, DC Comedy Loft, he made another video to double down and post, and just to be very clear, he supports Black lives and Black lives do matter to the Beer Baron. These clubs employ us. We work for them. We work with them. We spend time in their clubs, and we need to be safe and protected while we're there. So that's important to me. I don't know if it's important to you. There's a pervasive statement that has run through comedy pretty much always, but in particular after 2018 when Michelle Wolf did the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And that statement is "Speak truth to power," right? I'm sure everyone is familiar and remembers that. And there's also another pervasive theme that runs through the comedy community, and that is the thirst of comics. Okay, comics tend to be very thirsty on a level that I had never seen before until doing comedy. I'm talking about on like a Morty with a Picture Day Jessica type thirst. If that reference does not resonate with you, then let's go with a Dwayne with a freshly coiffed Whitley. You know what I mean? Like just a severe level of thirst where they're often willing to accept certain things and be quiet about certain things and not confront the powers that be because they're afraid of losing opportunities or losing stage time. Again, I love what I do. Comedy is baked into my being at this point. I love it. I love writing comedy. I love talking about it. I love performing it. However, if I have to sacrifice my civil rights to be able to do that, if I have to be silent to be able to do that, then you can keep it. I know that, I'll have other opportunities, and maybe not in comedy, whatever. It really doesn't matter. Again, this is an all hands on deck situation. I've heard nothing from the DC Improv. I've heard nothing from Arlington or DC Draft House. I've heard nothing from Magoobies. Silence, and that is hurtful. It's painful. I know that for a fact because I know what I personally have been going through. I know what other Black comics and just Black people in general have been going through. How do I know that? Because we talk to each other, okay? We call and we check in with each other, okay? I've been losing literally a pound of body weight a day. Why? Because I'm stressed out. I don't sleep. I barely eat. My husband's in pain. My daughter's in pain. Why aren't I physically out protesting? To be honest, I have medical reasons that I'm not going to dig too deep into, but I have medical reasons that prevent me from doing that. So if sacrificing parts of my career is how I can contribute, then I'm willing to do that wholeheartedly. All right. I think that we need to do better. We need to do better as a comedy community. Speak truth to power. Then let's do that. Let's all join hands together and let's do that. Black lives do matter. What about all lives, Frankie? Well, no shit. But the problem is that the statement Black Lives Matter isn't excluding other lives, okay? Black Lives Matter too is the point. But we shouldn't have to say that. But unfortunately, we do. And if you have questions as to why we have to say it, you know exactly why we have to say it. I posted this on Facebook. I didn't necessarily post it on Instagram. I shared it, or actually Marcus Cardona snagged it, and he just called out for not, damn it. I'm watching you from London. Power. Thank you, David. Hi, Mia. Marcus Cardona actually pulled it from All Lives Matter Privilege speaking. Marcus Cardona, though, what I was saying, he pulled it from my Facebook page and he shared it as a story on Instagram. And again, a lot of comedy clubs since then have spoken up and spoken out. The Comedy Store in LA, one of my favorite places. I'm not a regular there. I'm not, pretending like I am, but I have performed on a few of their stages. And it is just one of my favorite places to be and enjoy comedy. So I appreciated them giving acknowledgement and posting that Black Lives Matter and posting a clip from Richard Pryor. So we need to think about that. We need to remember that when the world does open back up and we have an opportunity to get on stages, we need to remember the producers, the bookers, the clubs that didn't speak out for us. Sean Joyce, he's another one. Where is he at? Everyone in the DC and the DMV area holds him up as the DC comedy lord and savior, but he's been silent. Underground comedy has been silent. Why are they silent? Why don't you want to say? If you feel like saying the words Black Lives Matter is damaging your social media presence or damages your brand, then what does that say about your trash ass brand? Your brand is garbage. If you can't speak out for humanity, your brand is garbage, and I don't want to work with you anyway. And I hope that other people feel that way, because unless or until we do stand together and we make a unified voice and we say, you know what, I'm not going to work with you. I'm not going to work with you because you don't protect my friends. I'm not going to work with you because you don't care about what's happening in the world. People are dying. People are losing their lives. People are losing their livelihoods. This isn't just recent events. These are events. I'm going to tell y'all a story real quick. When I moved from New York when I was a kid and moved to Virginia, my first experience with white people, I wasn't really around white people when I was little. But when we moved to Virginia and I started going to school here, my first interaction with white people was this. The most adorable blonde-haired, blue-eyed little white boy came up to me while my teacher had left the classroom for a few minutes, bent my pinky fingers backwards, spat in my face, called me a nigger, and told me to go back to Africa. No one helped me. Not one person helped me. No one said anything, and I was embarrassed to go home and tell my family, okay? And I didn't harbor hate in my heart as I, got older and learned different things about the world. Let's fast forward to when I was stopped by the police in a mall, me and my sister at 14 and 13 years old. And 2 male police officers beat the shit out of us in the mall. And when we went to court, the judge said that what they did was legal. It was textbook. We had no weapons. We were in dresses. We didn't, was that in Virginia? No, that was at Wheaton Mall in Maryland. So it was here. Let me tell you about the time when I was 16 and walking in my neighborhood in Virginia. And I had 2 police officers stop me and a male friend of mine. They held him on his knees at gunpoint, and then they sexually assaulted me. Okay? So this isn't a thing that just started happening. This has been happening. And if you can't protect me and people that look like me, then I can't work with you. I don't want to work with you. And I'm not telling any of these stories for sympathy. The point of telling these stories and saying what I'm saying now is so hopefully people will understand, okay? So you'll get a picture, or maybe a more clear picture, from someone that you actually know, someone that you've interacted with or maybe seen on stage or what have you. And maybe that will help lend some compassion to what's happening right now. Why are people looting? Because they're angry, because they're pissed off, because they've been trapped like rats in their homes, just like everyone else. And on top of suffering and dealing with coronavirus, Black people also still have to be afraid of dying. I saw someone post the other day, a white person posting, well, if you come in my house, I'm going to shoot you. If you're looting in my neighborhood, I'm going to shoot you. You don't think we have a right to protect our homes? Of course you do. You absolutely have a right to protect your homes. But you know what? Black people don't have a right to protect ours, because on a consistent basis, at any point, any Black person in this country can have the police run up in their house when they have done nothing, and they can be shot dead in their home, in their bed, while they sleep. Do I want that for everyone? Absolutely not. I'm not an idiot. I'm not crazy. But when white people feel those same situations happening to them or anything similar, they compared having to wear masks to slavery. That's bonkers. That's bananas. Every comic, I think, watching this, or that does comedy or has ever done comedy or whatever, every comedian, every entertainer, you know how much we love the art form. You know how much we love comedy. You know how much we love our clubs. And we love the managers and the bookers. And not all, but, we build those relationships. We spend more time with them than we spend with the people in our house, in our home. So when those same clubs, another example, a lot of these clubs, DC Improv, I'm gonna say your name again. I did a fundraiser when this whole coronavirus first started. I didn't make a penny, nor did I ask for a penny, but I did a fundraiser to help funds for the club and for their employees. Okay? Why? Because, it's the right thing to do. If you can lend your talent to something to help other people, you should. What has the DC Improv done to save my life, or any person that looks like me? What have they done to save a life? You can simply just post a picture, hashtag Black Lives Matter. That is a nothing thing. That's a thing that takes you 2 seconds. Matter of fact, when I'm done with this live, I'll post one of those pictures on my page. You can pull it from there. I'll make it easy for you to find. Pull it and post it. Pull it and post it. I'm not challenging you. I'm asking you to look at yourself and ask yourself why you haven't done that. Again, this is a small thing. This is a small sect, a small area. There are many, 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 many more that need to speak. Many more. I have friends that I've grown up with for years, that I went to elementary school and high school with, that haven't said a word. I see you too. I see you. And when I see you out in real life, trust and believe. We will have a conversation. As brief as it may be, we'll have that conversation. I'm not uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable most of the time. You know, Black people, we wear our protest every day on our skin. We are protesting when we step out of our house. We're protesting when we lay down to go to sleep. We're protesting when we procreate and have children. We're adding to the fight automatically, instantaneously. You don't see the pain that we go through. You know, you don't see it. Why? Because we have learned how to hold it in, how to damper it, how to keep it to ourselves so that we can get through to the next moment. We can get through to the next minute. We can get through to the next day. If you knew what Black people were going through every minute of every day, you wouldn't be able to stand to be around us because it's fucking depressing. The shit is depressing. I've been in meetings where I'm holding back tears from pain. When I see George Floyd on the ground with that knee on his neck, I can feel the pressure on my throat. That's what it feels like to be Black. But unfortunately, non-Black people, not all, but you know, many, see that and they can look at. I couldn't even watch the video. I couldn't watch it because I couldn't see it through my tears because it physically brings me pain. Just like every Black person that you know, whether some want to admit it or not, feels the same way. It hurts and when you have kids, and my daughter comes to me and she tells me that she's afraid, and I tell her that I'm going to protect her, I don't know if I can. And I have to look at my husband crying, trying to hide that he's been crying and in pain. So fuck your stage time, if that's what it is. Seriously, fuck your stage time. Keep it. You can keep it. You can keep it. You can keep it. I can create my own things. I have a multitude of amazingly talented Black friends and non-Black friends who I would be happy to work with me, and I'm happy to work with them. West Side Comedy Club immediately picked up Debatable as Fuck, and tomorrow we have our first season 2 episode. We will be dedicating that episode to the Black Visions Collective. There will be a donate button, not that we won't be collecting any money personally, but there will be a donate button where you can donate directly to that organization. It's a Black trans and queer-led organization working towards dismantling systems of oppression and violence to create long-term peace, okay, and real change for everyone. Not that other organizations aren't, I don't want to come off that way, but that's the purpose of the fund, and there'll be an immediate way for you to donate directly to that organization. And we're going to address what's going on in the world right now at the top of the show. But the purpose of, let me tell you why I created that show. The purpose of that show was for us, comedians, Black folks, whoever, to join in and just have fun, silly debates about whatever kind of issues, just silly, fun issues. But you know what ended up happening? The world got set on fire slowly. It started with Ahmaud Arbery. Then it was Breonna Taylor. Then it was Amy Cooper accosting Christian Cooper in Central Park. Then it was George Floyd. And since then, there have actually been a number of other incidents that most people probably aren't even aware of, but Black people are. You know why we are? Because it matters to our actual existence. Okay, there was a young boy, I want to say in Texas, I think Mike B brought it to my attention, who was being accosted by the police in his front yard. His 90-something-year-old grandmother came outside peacefully to quell the situation, and the police slammed her to the ground, a 90-year-old woman who was unarmed and being peaceful. Okay? So think about who you work with. Think about who you align yourself with when all of this is over, when things are said and done, and to get back to some sense of normalcy. Think about who you work with. The Improv, Big Hunt, you know, Magoobies, all of those places, those are coveted spots. Those are places that comics work their ass off to get 5 minutes or 3 minutes to just try to showcase, to come back and hopefully get another free guest spot. You know, and the dream is, oh my God, I hope one day I can host or feature. Oh God, I hoped and wished for that too when I first, I had big hopes and dreams for that. But as I'm navigating this minefield payment and comedy, as I'm navigating through it, I'm seeing a lot of realities, a lot of hard and painful realities. We cannot continue as a people, and I'm not just talking about Black, I'm talking to my white counterparts too, my white comic friends that also have influence. Stop working with clubs that don't support your friends. Stop doing it. Tell them no. If we stand together and we all say no, you know what? You were silent when there were riots in the streets. I can't work with you. White friends, white comics, Asian comics, Puerto Rican, Spanish, every other ethnicity, nationality, non-Black folks, and some Black. I see some of y'all being super ashy. If we all stand together and say no, then guess what they have to do? You have to listen. And it's not because it's my opinion. Again, this doesn't help me and better for me professionally. This isn't advancing my career in any way. I'm not doing this for likes or doing it so people can watch me on live or talk about me. I don't give a shit if you talk about me. Anybody that knows me in comedy knows I don't bite my tongue. I don't just ride along to get along. I don't fuck with you if your politics are bullshit. And that's been from day one, not just because of recent events. And again, if you know me, you know that that's the truth. I have always spoken out. A lot of times when people in the comedy community see some bullshit happen, immediately they hit my inbox. Frankie, you seen this? Frankie, you seen that? What I started doing is, nigga, did you see it? You saw it? You say something. My husband was worried about me speaking out because he didn't want me standing alone, in this. Because I do speak out so much about certain things. And I told him, just like I told you, I would rather lose an opportunity than lose another Black life. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. It is not a time to be silent. It's not a time to sit on the fence. It is not a time to protect your brand. It's not a time to worry about your racist followers or racist supporters or mildly racist or microaggressive. All of it is the same thing in my book at this point. It's all the same. If you're quiet, you are compliant. If you are silent, you are cool with it. Again, Stand Up New York, thank you. I see you. I appreciate you. James Gagan, Beer Baron Comedy Loft, thank you. I see you. I appreciate you. Comedy Store LA, thank you. I see you. I appreciate you. DuPont Underground, do what you said you were going to do. Make a statement. And when I see that, I see you and I appreciate you too. Everybody else, all of y'all, I know you hear me. And even if you pretend like you didn't see this, you saw it. Somebody will tell you. Do something. Save my life. That's what I'm saying. And if you don't like me enough to save mine, then save somebody's life that looks like me. I don't know how to be any more clear or intentional with my words. I don't have much else to say, so I think I'm going to leave it there. Share the video or don't, or just watch it at least and get the information. But it isn't time for silence. Silence hasn't been working. Silence hasn't been helping. Speak out, at least speak out and say, yes, Black lives do matter. I do care. You will be safe when you come in and patronize my club, when you come in and perform on my stage. How do I come and perform in your club if I have fear that some racist piece of shit could be in the audience, follow me to my car, yell at me from the stage, attack me? I don't know. How do I know that I'm safe? I don't. But I know if I go to Stand Up New York, I know I'm safe there. And you know how I know? Because a racist ass motherfucker did verbally attack me. And Yamanika Saunders, thank you, girl, stood up for me immediately. The owner of the club, John, the booker of the club, also came up and escorted that man out. So I know that I'm safe when I'm at Stand Up New York. I know that. And I have no doubt if I'm at Beer Baron Comedy Loft, I have no doubt that I'd be safe there too. So think about it, comics. Black comics, think about where you want to work. Think about who you want to work with. Think about it. Really think about what is it worth for you? What is that stage time worth to you? What is that ... on your resume worth to you? Your life? You sound stupid. White comics, other non-black comics. What is the stage time worth to you? Is it worth my life? Let me know. Your silence lets me know. But answer the question. I appreciate everyone that took the time to tune in. Thank you all for supporting, or even just watching. Share it. Force them to speak out. Open your mouth. Make us feel safe. Let's work together, not against each other. This isn't, and again, I want to be very clear actually before I go. This isn't to try to damage anyone's business. That I don't believe in that. That's not, it's not what I want or desire to do. But I do think that it's important that if we are speaking truth to power, that the comedy clubs that we have supported for years now lend us their support. They lend their platforms with thousands or millions, however many viewers or subscribers or followers they have. You use those platforms to now speak out against the loss of Black life. And if you're uncomfortable saying Black Lives Matter, ask yourself why.